All right, guys, welcome. This is class number 2, 3, whatever you want to call it. Unfortunately, we're not in class, obviously, because of the weather. I'm going to make this very quick and sweet. We are talking about roofs, floors, components, and editing some of these components. Components can vary from like furniture, like stairs or people, or we can dive into that more and talk about the assignments. I am on a computer that is super crappy, which is running good now, thankfully. It, I've been trying to figure out how to record on here for the past, I don't know, 2 to 3 hours. So I'm not having any luck until now. Anyways, so as mentioned in that email, we have an instructor that's going to be teaching with me. Her name is Asli. She's also a graduate from the BAC, and she can introduce herself more in class next week. But I'm looking forward to her helping. She's most likely going to be helping with the lecture, perhaps filling in for me if I cannot make it for any reason. And she also will be going around in class, making sure everybody's doing things properly, right? Versus what we've been kind of dealing with, and me kind of going around in class and whatnot. So it'll be a lot smoother, a lot quicker. We can cover things better, especially if we need to catch up on work. So I got everybody's assignment 1, which is great. A lot of you did great. I found some errors which we can discuss more in private if you guys have any questions. I'm going to be emailing everybody their revised homeworks. I wanted to distribute it today in class, but unfortunately we're not having class, so I'm going to email everybody, and if you have any questions, feel free to give me a call or email me. Assignment 2 is going to build off of assignment 1. Okay, Tara, will use yours as an example. So I would highly suggest going over your homework, revised homework, making sure everything's correct, making sure your wall dimensions, everything is good to go. So when you grow on that, your next homework won't be wrong or won't be right, basically. Small tip for a lot of you, like Tara. I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name, but I'm not sure if this is printed to a tabloid. We'll discuss printing again because I know a lot of you had questions concerning that. And also some of you, I noticed that the 3D perspective was a little too big in some cases, kind of like flowing over the title block. I would just simply double click on the view or go to a 3D perspective view and then scale it down to a smaller scale. Anyways, if we go back to the assignments, if you go to assignment 2, I've uploaded that today. Assignment 2 is basically, again, like I said, growing on assignment 1. You have the same grids, the same dimensions. I did not dimension anything here, so you do not have to dimension it either. The only thing that I have dimensioned is this little patio, which is, you can see right here, and then the overhang on the roof, which we can discuss further in the session right now. I'm also missing one small thing I forgot to add, which is we have a new door type, which is the sliding door that you'll have to load in as well. Very similar to how you loaded a window, we're going to load a new door, which we can discuss. I'll obviously go into in the session. And the components in this case for this homework is going to be a bed, a bathtub, a toilet, and a sink. These can be placed wherever you like. This wall can be whatever length you want, or so you can design it as you want. Obviously, we don't have stairs leading here. We can discuss that further in the stair class. But other than that, it's very everything there's for you. Don't forget to set up level 3, which is at 25 feet, as you can see here. And other than that, everything else is fairly clear. You have the roof size, roof type basically, and the floor type. You have 2 different ones. You have the generic 12-inch, and then you have the wood joist, which is what I placed for our exterior deck over here. I also rotated the 3D perspective view, so feel free to do that as well. You guys all did the 3D perspective, which is great. And don't forget to also work in Revit in a 3D view as well. I'm starting a new file right now. So I would suggest maybe at points pause and test some things out yourself just to make sure you're gathering everything properly. I wouldn't simply just listen in and work on it. I would just maybe pause and just make sure you're not missing any of the content. So we're going to start by going to our levels and adjusting them. So again, like every time we start a project, make sure your levels are set properly. In this case, I'm going to have my level 2 set at 10 feet, and I'm going to create a new level, which is level 3. Now, level 2 is going to be the second floor. Basically, for the homework, for example, that's going to be our bedroom, right? Level 3 can be whether it's a roof or whatever it may be. So when you set your walls, you're going to set your walls from level 1 to 2, and then your wall from level 2 to 3. So this is typical. Now you can set your wall from level 1 to 3, but in some cases, like for example, the homework, if we go back to that, we have a wall over here that's going from level 1 to 2, and then we have a small roof, and then we have another one here. So I would suggest separating it, basically creating a wall for level 1 to 2, and then a different wall for level 2 to 3, which is basically this exterior grayed out wall. And then we have the interior walls that's in pink. And it's great that I saw a lot of you color these basically by overriding them. We're kind of one step ahead. That's going to be covered in the next class, I believe. But that's great. You guys are playing around and practicing with that. I think it's great that you guys are doing that. So again, if we create a wall, now that here, let me double check. Okay, so we get our level 1, we got a level 2, level 3. Each of them are at 10 feet. That's fine for this case. I'm going to start up by creating a wall. So let me just double check. Okay, everything's recording. I don't want to waste my time. And again, I want my exterior wall, let's say in this case, to be 12-inch generic, and the homework is going to be different, so make sure you pay attention to the notes. Base constraints at level 1, top constraint, we're going to have it at level 2. And I'm just going to do this very quickly. I'm just going to draw a random, I'm not going to make it too big. Random wall. So again, if I go to my 3D view, which is up here, I have my 4 walls, all going from level 1 to level 2, and you can double check by clicking on a wall, seeing, okay, base constraint level 1, top constraint level 2, perfect. Okay, good, looks good. And another thing I forgot to mention as well, when you draw walls, so again, you can adjust all your stuff here. Your location line, so what is that? That's one thing that I think will make a big difference. So when I draw a wall, if you notice, watch this. It kind of starts in the center. Everything works off the center, as you can see. If I change that to exterior, which is how I usually work, the wall, like the line is on the exterior, and you can flip that back and forth, which is great. So when I draw a wall and I go to draw another wall, it kind of cuts it in, or you can flip it back and forth. So that's one thing I would always keep in mind, because even when you dimension, you get that same kind of option, right? So wall center line, and you can say no, center or wall faces. I want the wall faces. So every time I dimension it, it kind of automatically snaps into the exterior instead of the interior, right? Or the middle, sorry. So the same thing with that. So again, if I go back, and let's redo this for the sake, and I say wall, and I go, okay, let me double check, level 1 to level 2, perfect. And I want this to be exterior. I'm going to draw my walls. As you can see, it cuts it in instead of centers it, which is super annoying. So when I say 46 feet over here in the bottom, it automatically snaps to 46 feet. It doesn't give me the center of the 46, if that makes any sense. I can tab over, so tabbing selects all of them, as I discussed last week. And we're just going to work with this very random kind of dimension. So I want to add a floor. Adding a floor is very important, or else you can fall through, essentially. So floor is right here. You can just simply click on it right there. Click on the arrow, do floor architectural, you can do structural. We don't have to worry about floor by face right now. So for now, we're going to do architectural. And then we can do this a couple ways. We can either just draw lines. We can say, okay, the wall technically is going to go down past the floor, right? So in this case, we want the floor to be within the inside of the building. Okay? So I simply am kind of outlining where my floor is going to be. And this pink line, basically, these pink lines show where the floor is. Now again, as I'm drawing, I can change my floor type to, let's say, generic 12-inch, wood joist, etc. Or you can also create your own. And how do you do that? Same way as you edit the windows, same way you edit doors. These are all within the edit type. So if I click on the edit type, this type properties pops up. I can duplicate it and say, okay, I want a generic 10-inch, which doesn't exist. And remember, always duplicate, because if you don't, you'll end up editing the generic 12-inch, and that might affect all your other generic 12-inch floors if you have them. So now I change this to, I created, sorry, a duplicate, a 10-inch. And again, I'm sorry, this is very slow. So there it is. But my default thickness is saying 1 foot. And how do you edit that? You just go to the structure part, you edit it right here. This pops up, and you can say 10-inch. Now the wonderful part about this section, you can add components. So let's say you have a 1-inch carpet. You can insert it here and say, okay, my structure in itself is going to be, you know what, let's add components. This is great. So we can add 6-inch structure, and then we have a, let's call it 2.5-inch insulation. Oops, sorry, 2.5-inch, 2.5-inch insulation. Okay, I'm going to call this insulation. And then the category, this is when you start changing materials. I'm not going to get into this right now, it's too early, so we'll leave it. And then we're going to do a 1.5-inch carpet. Okay. Okay, let me see. Thermal, air layer, finish. We'll do a thermal, and then we'll put this under finish. And then this is structure. So altogether, that is 10 inches. That tells you the total thickness. So as I change the numbers here, 4-inch, it automatically changes it here. So you don't have to sit and do any calculations. It does it all for you, which is great. And as you notice, you might have to rotate these things around. So if you preview this, come on. No? It's very weird. Anyways, usually when you preview, it shows you the components right there. In this case, it's not. So this is how your and this works also with walls. So you can edit your walls to have your exterior BCMU, for example, then you have your air barrier, vapor barrier, whatever it may be, and then your studs and gypsum or whatever it may be that you're using. In this case, I'm going to have my bottom. So this is bottom to top. You're going to have your structure, so your concrete, 6-inch concrete, and then you have your insulation. Let's say I may not be right about this, or you know what, we can move this down and say we're going to insulate the building. Whoops, let's delete this one. We're going to insulate the building, have the structure, and then the finish. So fairly easy. Press OK. 10 inches. Okay, we're good to go. Okay. And now I have my floor, generic 10-inch. We have, you can see it here in the view, you have your, in the bottom, you have your insulation, your 6-inch concrete, and then you have your carpet, or whatever material you decide to use. It could be wood or whatever. It's a very thick carpet at 1.5 inch, I think, but either way. It's at level 1. There is no offset. We're all set. We're good to go. Press the check mark, and there's your floor. Now, you can't see it. Why? Because it is what it is. So if you go to your 3D view, this is how you notice that your floor is there. If you still can't see it because it's on hidden line, you just simply go down here, click on shaded, and then you can see kind of more of a shade to your floor. If you decide to edit it at any point, so if I go to view and do tile windows, which is a great tool, right? So if I want to work in floor plan and I want to tile another 3D view, just simply click on here. Or I love to use this hotkey, and I use it a lot. Just simply press WT, and there you go. It cleans it up for you. There you have it. Okay. And again, as you're working, please, please, please always work in 3D view while you're working two-dimensionally so you can know if you're drawing things properly. So now that we have our floor, I want to add a second floor. So as I go to the project browser, I'm going to double click on level 2, and this automatically takes you to level 2. Now you see an outline of level 1. Let's close level 1 right now because we don't need it. And again, I'm going to press WT, or simply just go to View. Under the Windows tab, you have this, Tile Windows. Click on that there, and there you go. So we're at level 2 right now. You see this is called an underlay. So if you scroll down on your Properties tab, there's something called underlay. So you can shut this off if it really bothers you. But in this case, we're basically going to be overlaying on top of level 1. So it's great to use that as a reference. It's almost like, in the AutoCAD terms, we're XREFing level 1 in. So in this case, we want to outline most of this building. Let's go back to architecture wall, and then we're going to do a generic 12-inch again. And again, check over here. So your base constraint is automatically set at level 2 because you're in level 2 right now. So automatically Revit is smart enough to know, okay, he's on level 2, he's working off of it. Your top constraint is level 3. That's great. We're going to leave the base and the top offset at 0. So the nice thing, excuse me. So the nice thing about Revit also, it identifies, like it automatically snaps to these walls. Even though it's an underlay, and it's kind of hidden, it automatically snaps to it. Another great way you can do this, you have the pick lines. And the pick lines is a great tool whenever you import a AutoCAD file, for example. If you have an AutoCAD file that you're outlining, you're redoing, and in a lot of your cases where for the final project you're going to be outlining on top of the original AutoCAD file that you did, the pick lines tool is great. So if I click on pick lines and say, okay, finish exterior, perfect. And again, double check your constraints over here, and then automatically, as you can see, kind of snaps to it, right? So if I go to the exterior of the wall and I slowly toggle on top of it, it automatically snaps to it and gives you like that dashed line is basically where your wall is going to go. If I hit the tab button, look at that. I click it once, and there's your wall. Now there's a small issue where I went to the center, which is kind of annoying. You can easily just click on a wall, in this case, and just drag it up to snap properly to where you want it. Or you can just click on it, press the move button right here, and do click, click. Look at that, nice and flush over here on the outside. Again, I'm going to click on this button, the move button. Hotkey for that is M as in Mary, and then V as in Victor. Click, and then click. There we go. So here is our second floor. Now, of course, we need to do another floor here, right? So we do floor. I'm happy with this 10-inch generic, but you know what? We don't need really insulation from the first floor to the second floor. Let's create a new type, edit, duplicate. Let's change this to a 6-inch, edit. Let's remove this and the barrier. You know what? We'll have a 4.5-inch structural, and then we're going to add a carpet. So if you guys didn't delete the carpet yet, or you can add it to be whatever you want. So again, we have a total thickness of 6 inches. We named it 6 inches, so it makes sense. And that's that. Press OK and OK. And now we have our generic 6-inch. It gives you a small little kind of icon of your layering, basically. On the bottom, of course, you have your 4.5-inch concrete or whatever you want to use. And up top, you have your carpet. And again, we have like a nice thing here now. In this case, it says pick walls. So automatically, it can find the walls. And if you zoom in close enough, you see that little dashed line right there. And what that is, that means it's going to the inside. If I toggle to the outside of the wall, You can barely see it, but you have that dashed line right there. And so I want the walls to be on, the floor to be on the inside. So I'm going to tab, automatically selects the inside, and I click, and there you go. Now another way that you could do this, I'm just going to delete this for now, is you can click on the rectangle tool right here, click from this corner to that corner. This way you're guaranteed either the proper way instead of kind of tabbing over and doing the pick walls. I typically like to do the pick walls, but if you're more comfortable doing it this way or using the line tool, you can do that way as well. I'm going to press finish. Would you like the walls to go up to this floor level attached to its bottom? I'm going to say yes. Okay, we can ignore that. That was basically saying that you want the walls to go up to that floor, but it says it does not align with it because the floor is on the inside of the walls, so it doesn't work. Either way, now we have a floor right here. We have a floor on the bottom, right? So we're basically good to go. Essentially, typically you have a foundation going from here going down, which holds the building up. We're not going to get to that point yet, but either way, let's go back to level 1. I'm going to show you guys a great trick. So in this case, I want to throw some windows. I'm going to use some generic ones right now. You all should know how to create new windows now, how to load new windows, right? So you know what? For this case, let's load a new family. Same as we did 2 weeks ago for the homework. You're going to go to load family. You're going to scroll down until you get to windows. And let's say I want this curtain wall. No, that's too boring. Let's do double hung with trim again, because I'm boring. You know what? This one looks fun. Casement 3x3 with trim. Open. So if we go to our properties tab, we of course have the fixed ones. We have, in your case, if you're working off of the assignment 1 file, you'll have the double hung with trim, I think. And then now we have this new casement 3x3 trim. You don't have to use this for your homework, but just using this as an example. I'm happy with this, 3 feet by 4 feet, and I'm going to just start plugging them in. Whoops, it's supposed to be on the outside. And you can simply just click on it and spacebar, and that will just flip and rotate your window. And this works the same way with your doors, right? So if I go, sorry, let's finish this up. So window, I'm going to throw a window here. I'm just doing this by eye, and for the homework you can do the same thing. It doesn't have to be at certain dimensions. If it does bother you, go ahead and do it whatever way you like. And again, we can dimension. So if I go to annotate, aligned, and then I want to, let's say, dimension from the outside to the center of the window, center, and to the outside. And you can tab to make sure you hit the right part. So if it's going to the center of the wall and you don't want that, you can go to the outside and just tab over, and there you go. Again, you guys should know this. If you press the EQ, it dimensions basically, or places the windows basically equidistant to each other. And I'm just going to delete this. We're going to forget about it. Yes, unconstrained. And I'm going to leave the windows like that. Now, let's say your boss says, okay, I like how you place these windows here. I like the placement of everything. These are great. Aligns with the living room, the kitchen, blah, blah, blah. And then your boss says, okay, but I want the upstairs windows, or your design, you want the upper level to be exactly the same. A small trick, you can click each wall. If you hold the control button, you get this little plus sign on your pointer, basically. And if you hold it, you can just highlight all the windows, which is great. Or another small trick, just click on one of them. So I'm right clicking with my mouse, and I'm going to go select all instances visible in view. So all instances as in all the windows. They're all the same instance. They're all the same type. Now, visible in view, the only difference between that and an entire project, obviously visible in view, so basically all of them that you see at the moment on level 1. If you do entire project, this is going to cover basically level 2, level 3, everything that you see in 3-dimensional essentially. So you can go to visible in view, and now you've selected all of your windows. Now this is great, right? You can just take this and say, okay, either you don't like him, you want to delete him, or you can also change them, right? You can also change them to 36 by 60, for example. And look at that. You didn't notice it, you only see it in 3D, but let's change it to a fixed 16-inch. See that? It changes all of them. So you can easily kind of work much, much faster instead of clicking one at a time, and just change them to whatever you want. Now in this case, I want to copy all these windows from level 1 to level 2 because I'm happy with the placement of these windows. I'm happy with the type. What you could do here, after you select them all, just go to copy. And now this paste isn't grayed out anymore. You can click on the arrow and do align to selected levels. Now you have other options. You can do align to current views, which basically places another window on top of the window. You don't want to create a mess. Don't do that. Align to same place, which is essentially the same thing, or align to picked levels. I wouldn't worry about that. Just do align to selected levels. You'll come up with this little select level tab. From here, you can just click on level 2. And if you want, if you have multiple levels, you can hold the control button and you can click level 3. So what would happen is all these windows will end up on level 2 and level 3. In this case, we're just going to have them on level 2. Press OK. Voila, look at that. All the windows are on level 2. So I simply just copy those windows up in 2 quick steps, right? Simply just right click on this window, select all instances visible in view, copy, paste to selected levels, level 2, okay, done. Look at that. Awesome. We also forgot to place a door. So let's say I want to throw a door right here at the entryway. If I go to architecture, door, you know what, I'm happy with this 36 by 84. My windows are crazy enough. Place it right here. And let's say I'm having a deck on the next level, and I want to do the same thing. I want to have the doors to be consistent, basically from floor to floor. I just simply do click on the door, copy, paste, align to selected levels, level 2. Bang! Look at that. We got a door on level 2. We got all the windows. It's exactly the same. Now this could work great, especially when you're designing like a, for example, if you're designing like an office building. Every floor is exactly the same. You want everything to be repetitive, or a residential kind of complex, whatever it may be. You can just easily kind of fly through these things fairly quickly. So let's exit out of level 1. Let's go to level 2. And again, you can see there's like a gray line right there, which is basically the underlay. In this case, I don't want to see it anymore. You can just turn it off, not to confuse you. And there you go. There goes that little gray line that was there. That was basically showing the wall below. All right, so I'm going to do WT, or you can just do View, Title Windows. And I'm going to work off of here. So I'm going to create another wall, architectural. I'm going to change this to, let's work with a 5-inch generic. And again, this is doing wall center line. I want it to be finished face exterior. Let's double check the base constraint level 2. That's correct because we're on level 2. And the top constraint is level 3. Perfect. So I'm going to draw a wall right here. It's going to be a master bedroom, I guess. Pretty big bedroom. I'm going to, and to escape out of this, just press the escape button. There you go. And there's your wall. Now, if you're having trouble toggling through here, the way I work, I hold the shift button and the center of your mouse, the scroller basically, and I kind of rotate back and forth like this very comfortably. If you're having some trouble with this, I can show you how to do it in person next week, or just simply you can click and drag right here. So you can use your left mouse button, go to your little box thing right here, and just kind of rotate it over here. It's fairly easy. Or if not, you can do like almost like an axonometric view. You can toggle this view however you want. Top is basically the same thing as the floor plan, so it's not the best view. I like to work in a corner just to kind of see what we're doing basically. Alright, so on the second floor we need an entryway to this room, so I'm going to go to door. I don't need a 36 inch, let's go with a 30 inch. I'm going to scroll in, click on it, perfect, escape, escape, exiting out of the door command. Before we jump into components, let's say we want to throw a deck right here, right? Let's say our bedroom, you like to drink your coffee and look out into the street, whatever it may be. And you can set up your design however you want when you get to it, but I'm going to go out of floor, and I'm going to change this to, let's say, wood finish, wood joist, wood finish, whatever it may be, and you can also create whatever type you want. You can make it a 2-inch deck, basically, floor, whatever you need. In this case, I'm just going to use this type. I'm going to do the rectangle tool just to do it a little bit quicker. And I'm going to go from the outside of my wall. It's going to be a pretty decent deck. 7'6", let's say. Escape, escape, and I'm just going to make sure my level's correct. Level 2, perfect. So it's nice and flush. And then finish. Would you like the walls? No, I'm all set. There's obviously no walls underneath it. Now, if I go back around here to that corner, there's our wall. There's our floor, sorry. Now it's overhanging by a lot. Obviously, you would have some structural holding this up. But in this case, we're not going to show it. And I'm not going to get into the railings yet. So we're going to leave it as it is right now, even for the homework. A lot of things may not make any sense at the moment, but let's just do it as I am giving them out, just to make sure that everybody's doing things the proper way. So now we have a door that leads to the deck. We have a door that leads to the room. We want to create a bathroom. So let's create another wall right here. I'm just going to draw it really quick. I'm eyeballing everything. I'm going to throw a door here. I'm happy with a 30 by 84. And I'm going to, you know what, I want it to swing the other direction. Just simply press the space bar. There you go. There's your door. If I go to my view, okay, perfect. All my walls are to the level 3. We're good to go. Perfect. And that's going to be my bathroom. So, components. This is the next step. I'm going to talk about roofs last to kind of enclose this house. So if I go to components, this is what basically every Revit program is going to be loaded in with. A desk, a student desk, a parking space, which is very random, trees, I don't know what this is, a support of some sort, and termination, I have no idea. Either way, we don't want these. So after clicking on a component, I would go through here, make sure that whatever you're looking for isn't here. And in this case, I want to add bathroom fixtures. So I go to load family. I go down into plumbing. And you have a lot of these other components. So you have like ductwork, but that's more with the systems tab right here. Electrical entourage. Entourage is essentially people. So if I double click on it, there's the Beetle, which is the car, like Volkswagen Beetle. Chairs, a female, and these come in different people basically doing different things, essentially. Male, same thing. Computer, laptop. So these are very random, and you can insert a lot of this stuff from Revit City, which is great. So I'm just going to go back. We're working with plumbing at the moment, and you also have furniture, which we'll get into in a second. But plumbing, double click on it. We have MEP, which is mechanical, electrical, plumbing. We don't need that. You're going to do architectural. Fixtures or equipment. Equipment is basically going to be like a water boiler, I think, water heater. So we don't have to worry about that. If you go back, the fixtures, and say, okay, we need 3 things in this bathroom. We need a bathtub, a sink, and a toilet. In this case, Revit likes to call them water closets, which is basically the same thing. Even on your like in the IBC codebook, they call them water closets, I believe. So, anyways, let's start with the toilet. we have a two-dimensional right here and a three-dimensional. I always suggest going three-dimensional just in case you decide to do a section later on. Everything is shown, right? So I'm going to do a three-dimensional domestic, which is basically what you find in most homes. The commercial is what you find basically maybe in your office, at the school. So in this case, this is a residential home. So I'm going to go to domestic 3D, open. And automatically you get a visual of this toilet. So from here you can see it automatically snaps on the wall, which is great. In this case, I want it to be on this wall. I'm just going to go to it basically and hit the space bar, and it's going to rotate it to wherever I want. So I'm going to rotate it to here. I'm going to push it out and say, okay, it's nice and far from the wall. Click, and then it's going to keep me in this command. I can just simply escape out, escape, and there's my toilet. If I go to my 3D view, there's my toilet. Look at that. So I'm just going to make sure this is still recording. Perfect. Okay. So from here, I'm going to go back to architecture component. It's going to ask me to save my project. This is just a pop-up here and there. I'm just going to escape out of it. I'm going to load family. Go back to plumbing. And you have to do this every time, unfortunately. It's kind of annoying. Fixtures. Let's go to bathtubs. And you know what? I like this tub 3D rectangular. It shows you the wall because basically that's Revit telling you, okay, this component can only be placed when it's snapped on a wall. So let me show you guys an example. Open. So you have this little stop sign looking thing. Basically what that means is you cannot place it. Why? Because you're not against the wall. Now watch this. If I slowly snap, it's slowly going to show basically. So I can't place it in the middle of the room. There's some components that work like that as well, so always keep that in mind. If you click on a component and it's not popping up, that's probably why, because you need to snap it against the wall or some sort of component that it's only registered to. So in this case, I'm going to snap it to here, and you know what? I want my drain to be on the other side, so simply spacebar, flipped it. Awesome, perfect. So I can place it, escape, escape, and here we go. There's our bathtub. Now let's say I want this to be flush. Again, just go to the move tool, click on the corner of that or the corner of this, whatever works, and just slide it over to the wall, and as you can see, it highlights it in blue, it snaps onto it, and there you go. And I want to, let's say, have a little separation wall over here so we can have the sink here. Simply go to wall, architectural, change this to, we don't have anything that's about 4 inches or so. Let's leave it at 5 inches for now. We need a thick wall for plumbing anyways, so exterior, okay, base constraint 2, top constraint 3, perfect. I'm just going to drag here to here, and there you go. Now if I go to my 3D view, look at that, we have our bathtub, we have our toilet, we have a little separation wall. It's a pretty luxurious bathroom, pretty big bathroom. So let's say I want to move these, I can just select the toilet, I can select the wall by holding control. If you hold control on your keyboard, you get the plus sign again, right? Just click on it. You don't have to drag the door because the door is going to go with it. And you can just simply move everything down. There you go. Now we have more room for our closet, right? Again, let's throw a sink in here, same way. Component, load family, because it's not in here, right? So I'm going to go to load family. I'm going to go down to plumbing. Architectural, fixtures, sinks. You know what, let's go back real quick and revisit the other ones. So we have also drains, which obviously wouldn't use, like a floor drain. You can find that perhaps mostly like in a kitchen, restaurant kitchen, for example, or in this case we'll never use it. Drinking fountains, which are bubblers, as us New Englanders call them, I think. And you can also insert ones online. You can get them from Revit City or Autodesk Seek. And the last project that I used, we needed to use a ADA compliant drinking fountain, so that's where I got it from. Showers. This is a two-dimensional stall, so this isn't going to show in your 3D view, but you can most likely find ones online And now in this case, we're using sinks. And there's urinals as well, which we wouldn't be using. And again, this has the wall, which means that this can only be shown or when it's against the wall. So again, let's go back to sinks. Let's do a vanity square. Open. Now, this is facing the wrong way. Simply, again, press the space bar, space again. There you go. And again, it snaps to it. Perfect. Escape, escape. Now you say, okay, this is bothering me. I want this sink to be centered. Same way as the windows that we did last week. Annotate, aligned. You make sure you're not selecting the wrong part of the wall, so just you can tab over, right? Click. You can do to the center of the sink, to the beginning of the sink, whatever it may be. You just simply, if you tab, make sure you hit the right part. So I want it to be the center, and then to the middle of that. Now this is, all these dimensions are kind of overlapping in a way. If you want to keep them, you just click on this little dot right here, drag it, separates everything for you. You can see that you're half an inch off basically to be centered, or you can just simply click on EQ. Well, there you go. Equidistant, perfect. Delete this. Unconstrained, perfect. Now we have our big bedroom. We have room for a closet perhaps here. Let's extend this wall if we want. Okay. Perfect. Throw another door there. Architecture door. Nope, I want it to swing the other way. Space bar. There we go. Escape, escape. Click on it. Now, if you want to move it a couple of inches, just simply click on it. Go to your keyboard again. Go to your arrows, and you can just simply nudge it over with your keyboard. Okay. Press out, and now we need a bed. We need a mattress of some sort. So again, go to component, place component, load family. Scroll down until you get to furniture. Double click. Now you have our options. You have TV stands, you have flat screen TVs, and these are kind of like the basic stuff that Revit has within it. They don't fill you with everything in the world because they don't want to really bog down your Revit file. It's already big enough as it is. So you go to beds, then you have your option of beds. You have a bunk bed, hospital bed, etc. In this case, I want to use this bed standard. It's in 3-dimensional. I like it. And press the space bar, rotate it properly, escape, escape. You say, okay, this bed's a little small. And luckily in this family, they've created multiple types and multiple sizes. This is a big bedroom. This is my master bedroom. So I'm going to throw a king size bed, and there you go. As you go to your 3D view, you can see that you have your nice bedroom, door that leads to the deck, some room for a nightstand, some closet space here. It's perfect. So from here, you want to, this is kind of the extent of assignment number 2. Later on, we're going to get into stairs, all that other good stuff, but for now, we're just going to leave it as it is. I believe part of the, let's go back to the syllabus. We were going to cover, come on. Editing some of these components. So, okay, week 3, floors, roof components, which we just covered, and editing elements. Editing elements could be a variety of things. It was a very vague thing for me to add, but if, let's say you want to edit the family, and also keep in mind that this could edit all your other toilets, so you want to always save as. Editing families is great if you, let's say, bring in a Revit component that somebody made online, and you want to implement it into your project, but you're not happy with a certain dimension. Like, let's say if the toilet's got a weird lid or whatever, maybe you can go in and edit that. And now, how do you do that? You just simply click on the component that you added, go to Edit Family. Now from here, you basically are almost editing that component in itself. Now you can delete things, you can extend things as you want. I wouldn't suggest playing around too much with this. I don't play around with it too much. Usually when I add components, I edit them slightly if I need to, but this is basically creating families and creating components. It's a little more advanced Revit, which I don't think we'll be teaching much in this class, but we can play around with it when the time comes, or whenever you're getting to the final project and need to play around with that, I can instruct you guys on how to do it. For now, we're just going to leave it as it is. In some cases, let's say you're not happy with the color of the toilet, you can edit it there, changing the materials and whatnot, but for now we're just going to leave it as it is. I'm going to X out of this because I'm happy with it, essentially. So now the final thing is we need to add a roof. We have this gorgeous building, looks great, I just need to add a roof. Now, how do you do that? Again, if you go to tile your views, and we're going to work off of level 2. We go to architecture, roof. No, actually, let me go back to introduce the other components in the roof tab. This little arrow right here, it does roof by footprint, which is what we're going to use. Roof by extrusion, which is basically, if you have like a funky shaped roof, that's what you would use. You basically, as you can see from this little icon down there, that pink line is what you draw once and then you extrude it throughout. Roof by face, in this case we won't be using it until a later stage, once you create a funky mass. Soffits, so obviously roof soffits, you'll see that it's basically underneath the overhang of the building. The fascia, which goes on the outside of the roof, right? And then your gutter. Now, typically, you won't really go into that much of a detail with your projects, unless you're working in a like a residential home company. You'll end up using soffits and fascias and gutters. In this case, we won't be using it. We're going to go roof by extrusion. And this works exactly like floors. So you can click on a rectangular box right here and draw it in. You can do the wall by pick walls, right? And it automatically does that. And I can hit the tab button to select all of them. You can do pick lines, which kind of picks which components, and you can easily kind of click, click, click. You can delete that as well. Now it asks you here what is the base level. So since we're on level 2, we don't want it to be on level 2. Obviously, we want the base level to be on level 3, which is 10 feet higher, right? And then ask you for the offset. You want to keep that at 0. I'm happy with this basic roof type. You can create your own. Go to edit type, duplicate. If you want to have a funky, you can do wood rafter, I guess. Whatever you need, you can create new components, edit them, add all the materials, add all the goodies into it. In this case, let's go with a generic 12-inch, press OK. And then from here, we can draw a roof. I'm going to click on the rectangle tool. And over here, it asks you for an offset. An offset, basically, you can look at it almost like an overhang. So if you want to overhang your roof 4 inches, for example, click over here, 4 inches, done. So as I'm drawing it from this corner to this corner, oops, there we go, you can see that it overhangs by 4 inches, which is what I want, because typically any roof overhangs a little bit. You can't have it flush. I'm going to overhang it, I'm going to click, perfect. I'm happy with it overhanging. I'm going to double check everything's lined up, everything's good to go. Now this little triangle basically tells you the slope of the roof. Let's say I want this roof to be very similar to typical kind of ranch homes, essentially. So slopes up from here, down, and these are inconsistent. So if I just click on this, hold the control button, click on that, or just simply drag and highlight both of them. Click on define slope. So it basically gives it no slope. And I click on these two, and let's say, okay, I get the slope right here, and I want to change that to 4 by 12, sorry. Press enter, and here we go. Now we have our roof. I rotate around. Perfect. Typical ranch home. 2 floors, I guess. It overhangs, as you can slightly see, which I'm happy with. But now this wall isn't connecting to it. So how would you do that? If I simply click on it, and then say top constraint level 3, and then change that to, let's say, another 10 feet, it's not going to be flush. It's going to be a total disaster. So if I just undo, if I click on it, you get this new icon right here, this new tab. It says attach top base. So I click on that, and I want to say, okay, attach wall to the top of this roof. Click on the roof. Look at that, nice and flush. Cleans it cleans it up for you. If I rotate around, click on this. Click on this wall. Say attach top to base. Click there, and there we go. Nice and flush. Everything's clean. Your walls are perfectly attached to the roof. You have your 4-inch overhang. It all looks good. Now, if this we don't have to worry about, but small tip: if you want to add like a soffit, or let's say fascia, in this case, I'm happy with this 10 by 12. It automatically kind of snaps to it, so I can just click here, and you can see that it created a 1 by 12 fascia right here. I'm going to delete it. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about the homework or any assignment, but if you are working in a residential company, this is how you do that. And that's how you do roofs, and it's as easy as that. And let's say now I'm not happy with this type of roof. I can go to edit footprint. I can highlight it all, or let's say highlight these two because these are not sloped, and click on define slope and set it to the same slope, which is 4 by 12. And then there you go. And then you can play around with that a lot. So for me, in a lot of my designs and a lot of my like studio work, I like to slope roofs like a kind of modern contemporary homes, basically. So if I go to edit footprint and I say, okay, I want the building roof to slope from this side to this side only, so only slopes up. I can just simply highlight these 3 lines, these 3, basically the beginning of the roofs, and I just go define slope, and I say, okay, I'm gonna click on this one. I'm happy with it being 4" by 12. Press the check mark. This is a little too much of a slope, but I'm happy with it. I like it. You know what? I'm not happy with this. This is an absolute disaster. I'm going to change this to 2". And as you can see, it automatically, you can change it here, or you can just simply go into edit footprint and change it there. I personally like to change it out here. Sorry. So you can see what you're doing. Let's say 1.5". We only get a little bit of rain. Whoops. 1.5. And there we go. Now, of course, you can see that the walls are not aligning to it. Just simply click on that wall, attach top base. Let's go to that view, sorry. Click on that wall, attach top base, top of this. Perfect. I rotate around, and you can do this differently. So if I click on this, I just undid. If I click on that, rotate around, click on this wall, click on this wall, rotate, hold the control button, so you get that plus sign. So you click in 2 walls at the same time. And I do attach top of base to this roof. There you go. Look at that. Now I'm an architect. I'm so stylish. So crazy. Or interior designer, sorry. And this could work another way too, right? So let's say I want all my interior walls to do the same thing, to attach of the to the basically the bottom of the roof, I can go into my floor plan, just simply hover over a wall, hit the tab. It's going to select more than one. Click on it, and then I can hold the control button to get that plus sign. Click on this, hold it, keep holding it. Just click on the walls, do attach top base, the top of, and then you can select it here. Now, if I click on the roof, you can easily see how the walls are now attaching to the roof, which is great. If you want to have basically high ceilings in those bathrooms or whatever it may be. And that should be it. I know it's going to be somewhat of a challenge, me not being there for the homework. In class to kind of discuss a little bit more the homework. In this case, you know what? I'm just going to go over a different type of roof that almost mimics the homework. So let's say I want two different types of roof here. I just simply go to, I would pay attention to this because this is going to be very similar to the homework. So I went to roof, I'm going to draw a rectangle here. I want the overhang to be 4 inches again. The homework is different, okay, so pay attention. I'm going to draw it in lines. So from here to here. I don't want it to overhang on the inside, so I'm just going to leave it right there. Let it overhang from here to here. These lines don't connect. I can simply just click on one, click on the trim tool. So click, and there you go. And then click on that line again. My offset's 0, perfect. Just do click, extend it out, escape, click, extend it out, escape. Now you got to trim this stuff up, so just simply go to the trim tool again, do click, 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 perfect. Now you look at this and say, okay, I don't want these to slope. I want it to start from here and slope up. So just simply again, same way. This is a small roof, but I would just highlight these two, define slope, change that, and then change this to, let's say, 3 inch, and then finish. Oops. See, I forgot to set the base level. I wasn't paying attention to my own rules. I can easily, as you can see now, the roof is within level 2. We want to set it level 3, and there you go. Perfect. Now we can highlight this wall and that wall by pressing the tab, attach the top of base, and there you go. Nice and flush. Look at that. Perfect. All right. That's how you do that. Now, if you want to do the inside of the room, I would do roof, and just pick lines. And pick the outside of this wall, outside of this, and then we want to change the offset now for the outside walls to 4 inch. Click on the outside, there, there, and there. Now yes, this went around the whole building. We don't want that. We want to trim these. So go to the trim tool right here, click over here, click over here, here to here, escape, and say, let's get rid of these, define slope. Now your homework is set differently. So this is set on one level, this roof, and then your second floor has its own roof, which kind of it's set a little bit differently. But so I want these slopes to be at 5 inch, let's say for this case. Base level, right? So level 3. To make sure that this goes starting at level 3. Press enter. Now this doesn't align properly, but you kind of get the gist of it basically. Let's see, if I edit it, what went wrong here? There we absolute disaster of a roof. It doesn't make sense, but we're going to leave it as that. Typically you wouldn't have a roof like that, but perhaps this would be 10 feet higher, right? I can extend these walls, attach to the top of this, and then we can draw more walls here, or extend these walls up, attach. Whoops, okay, that doesn't work. But either way, that's basically how you do things. If I added this roof to a line on top of these walls, then once we attach to the top, it's going to recognize that, okay, it aligns with it. So if I click on this wall and this wall to attach top of base to this roof, what, it didn't do it? That's weird. Oh, the reason why I didn't do that, and I would always keep that in mind, you have to detach it from this roof. So I selected these two walls, I said detach top of base, and over here I'd say detach all. Now, as you can see, your walls are back to how they were, right? So now they don't have any ownership, essentially. You can select both walls, go attach top of base to this roof. And there you go. Now you have $1 million home. And that's not as easy as that. And again, if you guys want to work much quicker, you can simply click on whatever windows you want. Let's say these two windows, copy, paste, align to selected levels. And now I want these windows at level 3. Okay, there you go. Look at that. You have your windows. Now a small little tip. Now that we have roofs, we have walls, we can't really see the inside of the building. A wonderful tool that not a lot of people that use Revit know is over here. When you're on 3D view only, this works. You can scroll down to something called section box. Now section box is basically like creating sections within your building. Now yes, you can do it a different way. You can do, you can go to your floor plan, go to section, building section, okay, and you can click right here to here, escape, click on it, maybe flip it by flipping section. Okay, so I simply right clicked on it, flip section, and then right click on it, say go to view. And now I see, okay, this is my crazy little roof, right? I have my new roof on the over the third floor, whatever. I have my door, and my walls basically go all the way up. So it's probably not the best section. Let's move this section around. Say I want to see this door and sink. Look at that, perfect. We have the sink, we have that little wall that's right there that separates the tub. You can see our bedroom, the door is shut, windows. We have our floor, right? We have our first floor, etc. And our deck, of course. You can create really nice sections with this stuff. You can also change this to shaded or perhaps realistic if your computer can handle it. Mine's a little slow, so there you go. Now you can also render stuff like this from this shot. I'm not a big fan of rendering these sections. What I usually do is again, materials in Revit isn't the best. I usually do hidden line, and then I kind of almost use it to trace over it, or I import it into Photoshop. And either way, I mean, everybody likes to work their own way. This is a Revit class, so I'm not going to really teach you guys any other ways to do this, but if for future, if you want to implement it into a certain project, we can discuss how to do that as well. So again, I don't want to keep this section. Always keep your models clean. Don't forget about that. I'm going to delete this section. Just make sure everything's recording still. Okay, we're good. And that's that. Let me just revisit the homework real quick. At this point, you should all be fairly comfortable. Now, you can design your second floor however you want. The overhang is at 6 inches here. I'm using a 12-inch generic roof. The floors, we have a generic 12-inch, which is basically what Revit comes with. And there's a 10-inch wedge joist, which is what we used out here. You can use whatever sink or bathtub if you like. I use this funky little different one. I have a small closet because I suck. And in this case, I used a sliding door leading to the deck. It's not mandatory what type of door you use. You can use whatever door you want. You can use whatever window you want. You're designing this. Have fun with it though. Like, I wouldn't suggest using the generic stuff because it's good to kind of keep practicing and knowing what you're doing. But there's also a 3D view basically right here showing how the roof is working. So I added windows over here looking out into this sloped roof, which is basically very similar to what I did here, right? This is obviously much bigger space. Oops, I completely went a whole different direction. I forgot to show you guys section box, right? So if I click on section box, this works very similarly to a section, but it's a 3D section. So now you have this little box, which is called the section box. And it comes with little arrows everywhere. So this is an arrow from the top, side, bottom, etc. What I like to do is kind of move this down so I can still see the interior spaces, right? So even though we have roofs, you can move this down and I say, okay, I can see this interior space. And I've used this tool for so many projects where I want to show like different sections of the building. So you can set your, let's say your project or your view to like this corner right here, and you say, okay, I like it. And you don't rotate it. And then you can just like do snaps, right? So you can toggle this down, show the first floor, right? Export this out as a PDF, right? And then you click on the box again, move this arrow up. You want to show the second floor. Perfect. Look at that. Now you're showing a section of the second floor. And then you want to show like section of that roof with the high ceiling. And then there you go. So you got 4 beautiful kind of 3-dimensional sections that can really, really kind of showcase your work, showcase your project and how everything's layered on top of each other, which is great for like projects. And I've used that so many times to showcase different floors and how they overlap on each other. Once you're done with the section box, you can just simply scroll down. Where'd it go? Click on section box, and there you go. And it goes away. But again, let's go back to the homework. So you have your walls, you have your components. Okay, you can use any components you want. You can set your walls to whatever dimensions you like. For now, don't take over the whole second floor because we need room for the rest of the class. Basically, we need to still cover stairs and railings, and if you want to furnish your second floor a little bit differently, or your first floor, add some furniture, add some funky stuff. Do so. Have fun with it. Practice makes perfect. You guys are not going to get this overnight. I didn't get it overnight. You really just need to take the time to practice and really get ahead with this program. If you go back to component real quick, if you go to load family, again, you can go to furniture again, and if you want to add, where's seating? Okay, seating, and you can add a bunch of chairs. You get couches, sofas, and you can really furnish your place up. We'll talk about like kitchen furnishing some other time. If we have any free time. For now, I think this is a good endpoint for this class. And don't forget, for the homework, you have to put everything in templates, right? So I'm going to scroll down, go to sheets, create new sheet. In your case, you don't have to create a new sheet. Or sorry, you don't have to load a new title block. I'm sorry. You do have to create a new sheet. I'm going to load an 11 by 17, which I think all of you did. Right here, 11 by 17. And there it is. I'm going to press OK. So now I have created a new sheet. I'm going to call it A102. Unnamed, it's assignment number 2. Owner, guys, please fill this stuff out too. I know it's stupid and it doesn't matter, but it's good practice to kind of do that. I'm going to scroll up to level 2, and I'm going to simply drag and drop. I'm going to scroll out, get this little box, click on it, and there we go. Now we have our level 2. Whoops. I'm going to double click to center it, right? So to kind of, if I scroll out all the way middle of nowhere and I'm like, where's my model, where's my stuff? Simply double click on your little scroll, right? Just double click on it quick, and then it takes you back to whatever view you're working with, okay? This is at 1/8 inches equal to a foot. I want this set at 3/16, whatever. What do we have it set at the homework? Just curious. 1/4 of an inch. Okay, so I can just simply double click on it so I can go into this view, and from this view I can edit stuff too, right? Go to 1/4 of an inch is equal to a foot. Deactivate the view, fix it, center it. Oof, it's a little big in this case. Thankfully, the way I designed everything, it fits into the 11 by 17 fairly comfortably. In this case, it's not fitting because it's a much bigger building. I'm going to change the scale, only in my case. I'm going to change it to 3/16 so it can fit. Okay, perfect. Now from here, you want your level tab, right? Just click on it once, drag it, and drop it right here. And then for you to adjust this line, just click on it right here, and then you get this little 2 dots right here. Just click on one of the dots, drag, drop it. Perfect. And that's that. Now from here, you can go to your 3D views. Now this is your current 3D view. Every time you go into this view and you move it, it's going to move on your title block. So what I always suggest doing is duplicating this. So duplicate view with detailing. So now you have 2 3D views. So what that means is if I move this one around, if I go to that one, it's still there, right? So I can move this one however angle I want. So I can create, and then I can place multiple 3D views, which I think 2 of the students ended up doing that, which was great. So for this case, I'm just going to plop in 3D copy 1, which you can rename it to whatever you want. I can double click in there and rotate it. And when you do this, please rotate it so I can see this roof, okay? If you guys rotate it to see it from that angle, it's great, but I'm not going to be able to see this. If you want to rotate it not to be at a certain like angle of the building, you can rotate it like this or whatever may be, whatever works with you, whatever you feel comfortable with. That's fine with me. Now, if this is too big for the sheet, I would just simply double click in there, change the scale to a much smaller scale. It's currently set at 1/8 inch is equal to a foot. Change it to 1/16. I'm fine with that, just as long as I can see the 3-dimensional view of your building works. Okay, clean this up. I'm going to align everything properly. Now, another thing that some of you forgot to do was cropping your view, right? So you can do this a couple ways. The best way that I find is just simply double clicking so you can go into that view. These elevation tags, you don't want to see them. Just scroll down until you get to crop view and then click on crop region visible. Now you have your little border and just clean everything up. This almost creates like a viewport to AutoCAD fanatics. It really kind of trims what part of the building you want to show, right? So let's say you don't want to show, you only want to focus on this part right here, in the bathroom, in the bedroom. You can trim it to whatever you want. In this case, we want to show everything to the exterior. Perfect. We're good to go. Now, this isn't going to print, but I personally am very picky with these things. I like to turn off the crop region visible after I'm done. Okay, and that's that. Anything else I've missed? Let's talk about printing. Some of you emailed me having issues with printing. Again, what I said last week, the way you kind of take notes, diagram things. For example, how do you draw roofs, diagramming it properly. Same thing with printing. So that's the best way I like taking notes when it comes to kind of step-by-step things. So I'm going to go to the R, go to print. And then your print window pops up. Now, this is the printer that I use at home. I use to export PDF, I use Soda PDF. And a lot of you are going to have different ones, maybe Adobe, maybe Bluebeam, whatever it may be, as long as it says PDF on it, that's the route you want to go. And then it asks you if you want to combine multiple selected views. Now, I only have one sheet, so that's fine. Later on, once you create construction documents, you want to make sure that you're combining them and not creating separate files. If I go to print range, these are which views that you want it to print. In this case, I'm only printing this page or this sheet. I go to setup. Now, a lot of you missed this step. I think some of you set it as letter, or I don't know what some of you have set it up as. Since we're working with tabloid, which is an 11 by 17, it's the same thing. Click on tabloid, or if you want 11 by 17, again, click over here on zoom, and then go. Now this goes to offset from corner. I don't know why it does that. Go to center. Hide unreferenced view tags. And I know some of you on the homework forget to do that. Please click on that. Basically what that does is if you forgot to crop your view, if you forgot to crop your floor plan, it will not show the elevation tags essentially. Or even if you have sections, like section cuts that you forgot to delete, hide unreferenced view tags will basically hide any items that are unreferenced. Unreferenced as in they're not in any other sheet. So always click on this and then press OK. Press OK again. Now it's printing. Again, this computer sucks. Okay. Now it says, where do you want to export this PDF to? I say desktop. I'm going to go to recording for now. And I say assignment number 2. Francois Karen. Save. Well, it's exporting it. I'm going to give it a minute. Or printing it. And that's that. And now it's exporting. It's going to, okay, confirming finish, resulting files on it available by the following path. Okay. Now I'm using Soda PDF because I do not have Adobe on my computer at home. Soda PDF is a free software that I've been using for looking at PDF stuff. And okay, and if I scroll out, we have a nice perfect tabloid filled up with all the good stuff needed for the homework. And that's that. Now please don't forget to fill out the stuff. I didn't do it for this time, for this class, but feel free to do it yourself. And that should be it. Feel free to go back and listen to certain parts of the recordings. I think this is, I'm going to see if I can set this up even for school in case, and I can always like maybe drop these little recordings in our weekly classes. So when you're at home and you can't figure out, okay, how do we do a roof again? You can go back to the recording and kind of go through it again and whatnot, and kind of go through the class again. And that should be it, guys. Good luck. Shoot me an email if you have any questions. I do respond fairly quick with email, unless it's too late. The homework should be fairly easy. You're basically just building off of your existing floor plan. I'm going to email everybody their revised homework. So first thing you would do is fix your original homework so you can get full credit, and and then you can perhaps, let me think the best way. You can upload it again online. I'll create a folder in the, we'll do it right now so you all know where it is. If you go to assignment 1, new folder, I'm going to call this revised. All right, so in here I would drop in your new revised homeworks, okay, for you to get full credit. And if you want full credit for this, please submit it before next class, okay? If you don't, you're unable to get full credit back. And God forbid you don't do too well in the midterm, you don't do too well in the final, this could really help you with your grade, okay? Thank you all. Good luck. Shoot me an email if you have any questions. This is super trippy. That should be it. I stop.